What is cracking, people? Hopefully we're doing all right. Bit of a recap. Yesterday I took a loss on GU. I actually took a sell in here. As you can see, didn't end well. That's on Twitter anyway, so if you want to go look at that, go have a look. As for today, I was in this trade. I did partial out at a 1 to 3. This is an A+ entry, so I'm happy to take it during the day, during an Asia session. So I partialed it out, and then it came down and took me out at break even, where I covered commissions and stuff anyway. So 1.5% gain from this one. And then I also took an AU sell early in the day, being my pair of choice during the day, which ran 1 to 2 where I partialed just because of the current climate of the market. So 2.5% secured today, puts me up about 1.5% for the week with yesterday's loss. And then we'll kind of move from there. So I think this will run. Given my current outlook and what kind of is happening for the day, I'll explain it in a sec, but I would say that'll run. I did have 1 to 3 and then 1 to basically 1 to 11 here, so this is quite unfortunate, but I wasn't willing to hold after partialing. As you can see, literally tapped into where my entry was and went. So one of those things, and it doesn't look like we're actually going to get an entry for today as well. So I'll start with EU and we can kind of go from there. If we jump out on the higher time frame and have a look on the 4 hour, we've kind of completed the first idea that I wanted to see in terms of taking this high and then giving a reaction off. If we jump down to the 15 minute, as you can see, we've kind of completed this structure cycle over and over again. We then mitigated more or less this area that kind of broke here. As you can see, higher, high, higher, low. Created a new range here with multiple points, and that's quite clean in itself. So only thing being is we are acting from this decisional here that did medium induce into this break of structure. We have got this entire area realistically, kind of this area here is the extreme of the range, the kind of hourly point. Do I think it'll hold? No. So I do want to keep selling, but obviously, that'll just, time will tell with that. So EU today, my current range is this high to this low. We've got obviously the decisional that formed internally in here with break and retest that took liquidity and pushed away. For me to kind of take this sell, what I'll need to see is either take of this high, which we're kind of reacting off of this point now, take of this high to then sell through that liquidity. I really like that. This will bring us, basically, that's the decisional that sits here. That'll bring us inducement into mitigation of inducement into mitigation that kind of filled those points. That area is the decisional. It'll bring us into the decisional, and then we'll kind of crack that sell. Without that, I would say we actually need to come and take this high and mitigate this area. Now, I'll be working off the liquidity take and nothing else. Or what we'll kind of see is this high take here where we can kind of sell through that. Okay, so we haven't mitigated the previous point yet, and on EU, me personally, I have this as my 15-minute range, so very 50-50 between that and that. All right, so buys do make a lot of sense, especially with where we're acting from, but I do kind of have this area as a smart money trap. This is somewhat of a decisional area. Just didn't really take any liquidity. It's kind of just a random pullback. For the size of the range, it doesn't make sense. So what I'm going to mark out is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this out as a smart money trap. So my primary objective today is to sell EU. That's what I'm going to kind of sit with and go from there. We did medium induce into this area, but as you can see, that was disrespected. We then medium induced into this area, and then we kind of broke through that area here. So it's all kind of reset itself. So take of this high, and then I'm happy to sell off of that. GU, this is exactly what I wanted to see while I was in it. Multiple ways to treat this. I don't think this point will hold long term, but we are in the middle of nowhere. As you can see, we are completing this structure cycle here. In terms of where we are now, that is my current 15-minute range, break of structure, decisional, and then my extreme that sits down here. We've medium induced into the decisional. We've now taken the external high. So if this is a trap, it'll melt from here off of taking this high. If it's not a trap, it'll come and take this high, which is kind of what I see happening. I more or less see actually happening. So I like buys. I like buys up here. Now, where we are, we're mid-range. I will only look for sells. There's no way to get in buys here. So what we'll basically need to have happen for this to work is this will need to be a trap. And the only way to actually take a trade, we got half an hour to open, with open is basically this kind of pullback here and then trade a trap reaction to come and take this high, which is where I think we're going. I think it's less likely for us to sell off of this. It is possible, but we're not really reacting out of anything. We have had those two breaks to the upside, but we have completed the structure cycle. So what we've got to understand is this doesn't have to create a high. So understanding that, we can trade off of this. This was already my new structure on my 15 minutes. So that's my internal range. That's my external range in this kind of internal leg here. Obviously discounting all of this. So I am open to sells off the take of this high. It's a shame I couldn't stay in this because I think this will run. I think this has a really good chance of running. Unfortunately, there was an entry in here as well, but I'm not going to take 130 minutes out. I don't even like taking trades in Asia session on GU and EU, but it was an A+ entry, so I was happy to take that. I will walk through that for the group. Now on AU, so I'll just kind of draw what I'm expecting. So we've got basically that or that coming into this area here. I think buyers make a lot more sense, to be completely honest. AU, like I said, I took that sell in today, just trading through these smart money trap areas. We've got this range here and then this external range here. We've mitigated this area, pushed out, broke a structure. This is retest and a liquidity. I don't see this point as actually holding because it didn't create what it needs to here. So I see us pushing up and taking this Asia high to then sell off. I don't think this holds enough value with what it's done. This internal range, we don't have a structure cycle. I don't have this as anything. I don't have that as anything. So I think it makes sense to sell, either to take this first or to buy up to take that to then come take these equal lows. So they're the two options there. Internally with what we're working with, in order for me to take a sell, I would need to take realistically this high, which is the external high. So that's my internal range. That's my bigger external range here. I think we have a higher chance of heading down to this here to then push up to take that to melt, or sell, take that, push up, take that, take that. And I think they're the kind of options. We've got lots and lots of options on AU, which is quite clean. So we'll see what that does. But what I'm kind of expecting is medium inducement, trading away from that, especially with it'll be a high outside of Asia. We're not reacting off of anything. I don't have this as a decisional, like I said, so we're not reacting off of anything. We're literally sitting in the middle of an imbalance. So that'll be really clean. It'll also create this as a medium inducement, so that if this is a valid point to buy off of, that'll be the medium inducement target. So it'll tick those boxes, and we're not creating any structure internally there. So that makes a lot of sense. This is going to piss me off because this is really, really clean. What is it? What does it hit? 1 to 5. Bit of a shame, is what it is. But that's what I'm kind of looking at today. On the DXY, the DXY makes sense to just sell off, if I'm being completely honest. We've pushed up. We haven't fucking taken anything. We haven't done anything. Actually, buyers make more sense. Reacting out of this point, push. Internal break, no range, nothing. Like, there's really anything to follow with this, funnily enough. Yeah, it's kind of shit. It's not really reacting anywhere either. From a 4-hour perspective, I still have it going up. We haven't come into that top range. I don't really have that as a liquidity sweep. We're literally just in the middle of the nowhere on the DXY. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. Even if you had that as your break, take a retest, push up. You're working in this bullish area here. You've then taken this, which was internal break and retest. If you want to have that, yeah, it's trash. I don't have a read for the DXY, so I'll just focus more on the pairs and not use them as confluence. EU, sells make sense from where we are. GU, both make sense. The buyers were so clean, just wanted to be an asshole and not keep in. And then EU, AU sells make more sense from either here or here. Okay, and we'll kind of see what the go is with that when it gives us that. All right. Any questions? Let me know. Premium group links down below, and yeah, let's have a good Tuesday.